rhythm is the most healing quality that human beings can really have, whether you are actually a drummer yourself or, in fact, a parishioner who can take that in and readjust their nervous system and then go back to their everyday life and be a better father, be a better worker, be a better person. And so much of this spirit and rhythm derive from the city of New Orleans, a bastion, hotbed of R&B, and really, many people consider the birthplace of jazz. And there were these families down there that really set the tone for community and humanity within the music, making music with your friends. And believe it or not, at that time, with a record-based music industry, you were able to commodify the music that you loved, that you were able to press on record. And I get a chance today to speak to somebody who's continuing to swing away in the modern era, but I think he understands the roots of his family lineage, and I think he also understands that the work that he's doing, the rhythms that he's creating, and the healing will live on long after he's left this planet. Russell Batiste, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Hello. Hello, world.
Welcome. Yeah, you are welcome, my friend. I kind of wanted you to talk about, if you could, this idea of rhythm as a healing force in your own personal existence. I mean, the idea that people can go to psychotherapy, people can do yoga, but I mean, there's something called nada yoga, which is sound yoga, and that's kind of what your path has been about. And I just wanted you to talk about how healing rhythm has been to you in your life.
Well, in anybody's life, if you can have a rhythm playing that's going to have your head going up and down or side to side or what have you, that's the purpose of rhythm. Musically, to me, I think if I can pull off a groove and have somebody nod into the groove, just moving their head, not necessarily dancing, but just nodding their head or what have you. And that's some type of healing to me. Is also a form of communication to people that you don't even know or what have you. You're talking to them without even saying hello. They're out there in the audience or in the crowd or what have you. Or they might just be walking down the sidewalk and they hear a drummer playing, especially here in New Orleans, and next thing you know, they're nodding their head to the beat or what have you, something. That's communication to me. That's very important in my life because, I'm here as I'm out here as a drummer. But, a lot of people don't know that I write and compose most of the music that I play. I just don't sit behind a set of drums and beat. Most of the music that I've been playing, I compose as well.
It's so funny you said that because I remember you go back. I never interviewed him, but like Max Roach composed so much of his own music, and he always felt shafted by record producers. Drummers can't write their own music. They can't be band leaders. Can you talk about where that sort of composition streak comes from? I mean, when did you start? To me, it's all about original music. I mean, it's unfortunate, not necessarily New Orleans, but today, in Tucson, where I live, really badass musicians will come in. Their name doesn't jump off the page, but it's like Lenny White and Buster Williams are the rhythm section. But for whatever reason, they say we're doing Keith Jarrett compositions, or some cat will be doing Dave Holland compositions, and it's like, why is there this incessant need for comping? I get it. You got to put butts in the seats. But can you just talk about the drive and the passion that you have for creating original music and where that sort of, how you've cultivated that over time?
I can tell you exactly where it comes from. It comes from inside your soul. As a kid, coming from a family as such as the Batiste family, what have you, I was surrounded Most of my people, all of my uncles and my dad, they played music. They played different instruments. So I just wasn't exposed to a drum kit. I was exposed to keyboards, horns, bass guitars, all of that stuff at the same time.
Wow.
Or whatever. I just happened to pick up a pair of sticks when I was about one of, even before the age of one, and I was keeping time with the music. So by the time I got to maybe 2 or something, I can play music with a band. I could play a song with a band. But, I was always intrigued by, I always wanted to play saxophone, which I did, started in the 5th grade until my freshman year in high school. Then I joined the drum section. And up until that point, I was like first chair in saxophone and all that stuff. And I played baritone sax. I played alto. I played all of, and I was first chair, but I was known as a drummer, because in my dad's band, they took me out on stage to perform with the band, with the family band by the time I was 6. So by the time I was 6 years old, I was in nightclubs playing music.
No, wait, hold on. What was your dad's name, by the way?
His name is David Batiste. You go check him out. They're called David Batiste and The Gladiators. The song is called Funky Soul.
Oh, my God. Were you playing like the Nightcap in Uptown?
I played the Nightcap. I played the Devil's Den.
Oh, my. At 6 years old? At 6 years old? At 6 years old?
Yeah, when I was 8 years old, I opened up for the OJs and the Dells and the Starlight at City Park Stadium. And then when I was 10 the following year, I opened up for Al Green and a couple of other old 70s R&B soul artists at City Park Stadium. When the Barcades, I opened up for Larry Graham when he quit Sly Family Stone.
Sure.
And he started Grand Central Station. They came down here to the warehouse. I was maybe 11 or 12, and I opened up that show with them. With my family, of course, the Batiste brothers. Well, at that time, they were David Batiste and the Gladiators, or what have you.
Okay, so I want to be clear. And this is so beyond. You just went to Never Everland on me there. The David Batiste in the Gladiators, Alvin and Harold were in that band, or who else was in that band?
No, it was no Harold, Alvin. It was David Batiste and his brothers, Paul, Peter, Michael. And the drummer who I first laid eyes on, Stanley Ratcliffe.
Oh boy,
that's David Batiste and the Gladiators, and then they had Freddie Lanzo on trombone from Preservation Hall, and also Joe Salisbury on tenor sax and Frank Parker. And all these cats played at Preservation Hall, but they were the horn sections back in the late '60s and the early '70s for David Batiste and the Gladiators, and all that stuff. So, and all these people, were in my home, where the band rehearsed in my house. So, I can remember when I was maybe 5, and I was sitting on Jackie Wilson's lap. He's poking me in the stomach, singing "Lonely Teardrops." I'm saying, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
So
I say I want to go back and say that I came out the womb playing drums. That was God telling me I'm going to be if anything I'm going to be a drummer. But growing up and all that stuff, by the time I was 8 or 9, I started playing bass. So with my dad, they would bring me out. I would play drums, do a solo. Then I would get off the drums and grab the bass. I'll play bass and do a bass solo, and then I would get up and play a song on sax as well. And then I used to dance like Michael Jackson.
Dude, I mean, this is full. This is unreal, man.
Yeah. So by the time I got to college, I was writing songs, and a lot of songs like tunes that I did with Papa Grows Funk, that band there and all that stuff. Those songs were written in 1978 and 79 when I was in the 9th grade. And it took like 20, 30 years for those songs to come to life with those bands. But I've written those songs, a lot of those songs on bass. Because at that time, that's what I was trying to be, a bass player, because I already knew how to play the drums, and I was first chair saxophone, so I picked up the bass and started writing tunes on bass, but I couldn't tell the cats, I would play the bass line, and then they would play the guitars, keyboard, they would play whatever they wanted on there. It wasn't until I got to college and I met the ultimate Mr. Edward Kidd Jordan and Mr. Roger Dickerson, who put me behind the piano and taught me theory. And when they did that, my life changed. I say not overnight, over a month. Over a month's time, my whole life changed because I started writing music. I started creating and composing music from that point on in 1985 until today. I would have you. So, and then I started getting a little attitude because people were telling me, well, you're a great drummer, you're a great drummer, you're a great drummer. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm an all right drummer, but I could be a great musician.
Right.
Which means, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not just a drummer in the band.
I dig. This is I want to. This is very important for younger cats. I want you to talk to younger cats. Do you feel that all the experience cooking the groove in those nightclubs with the Gladiators made the theory come to life? What I mean by that is today, in my case, I believe it's for the worst, but kids are going into the academy. They're learning theory. There's so much material. We're saturated in material. So everyone's comping their professors or trying to sound like somebody, or they're transcribing an Elvin Jones solo, whereas they don't have the bandstand experience. Do you feel that the theory was so invigorating for you, not just because it sort of helped you make sense of the music itself, but because you had all that live band experience preceding it?
Yeah, well, coming from a musical family, that definitely helped. Put it that way. Not everyone that plays music here in New Orleans come from a big family,
right,
like I did. That they all play music, But and also, just being born, period, with music in you, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Without taking any lessons or without anybody telling you anything, you're playing music. Because that's how you were born, and this is how I was born. I was born with a pair of sticks in my hand. I was born in '65, and there's an 8mm film that's like in '66. So I just maybe not even turned one yet, but I'm sitting on the lady's lap behind a set of drums with a pair of sticks hitting the drums.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's the way I was born, man. It was just in me. That's the way most of my family members were born. They were born to play music. A lot of people were born to, play sports or do other things. The majority of the Batiste family, they were born to play music. We were born to communicate to the world, whatever, through music.
Absolutely. No, this is beautiful. So tell me a little bit about your this is really important. Obviously, the history of after the Louisiana Purchase. The idea of just restricting the drums to Congo Square, and with slaves cutting their hands off if they were caught with a drum. People having their tongues cut out so they couldn't speak their native language. How far back have you traced the history of your family to the motherland?
I've never even bothered, man.
Because that's where the rhythm. To me, that's where the rhythm. That, like you said, you were born with music. The thing is, this is a Eurocentric culture. You were born with rhythm because your family came from the motherland.
Okay, well, wherever they came from, I know that the God that I believe in, the Holy Ghost or what have you, the Spirit or whatever I was born in, I can only tell you about my history, and this is my history. And I was born to play music, so wherever it comes from, Congo Square and all that stuff, that was before my time. I just know by the time 1965, when I was born, I was put on this earth to play music or whatever. And I've been exposed to thousands of people that played music, and all of this stuff went into my soul. And so when I was old enough and able to create my own music that came from out of my own soul, that's what I did. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I do for a living. I create music to try and communicate to the people in the world through song. and you know, and whatever you hear me doing out there, it comes from my soul. You know, it comes from my history of me being born, David Russell, because I'm David Batiste, I'm Jr., David Russell Batiste Jr. And my dad exposed me to a lot of music in our country of New Orleans, because a lot of people don't realize the city of New Orleans is just not a city. We're a country within a country.
Explain that. You know, explain that.
Okay, you're not going to have a second line band in Mississippi. Right. Or Lafayette or something like that. You're not going to have the kind of music and the food that we have outside of the realms of Louisiana or whatever. But New Orleans, like I said, definitely not going to have no parades like talking about it, like we have here in New Orleans every year or whatever, since I was born or even before I was born or what have you. You're not going to have that kind of lifestyle or living or whatever unless you're in the country of New Orleans, Louisiana. You can't go anywhere else and get red beans and rice. You know, Popeye started from here.
I dig, man. No, I dig.
Yeah. I was in this band called Vita Blue, and you know,
dude, explain that. I know that. Yeah, tell me about that band because I've heard it over. It's the greatest name too.
One thing I can tell you about that band, when the Cat Page, the keyboard player for Fish, he asked me to join the band and go out on tour with them. And I say, okay, man, I'll go out on the road with you and all that stuff. But the first thing I'm going to ask you when we go to any state or whatever, where's Popeye? So the one thing we know for sure or whatever, that Popeyes all over the world or whatever, the ingredients that they make is the same ingredients in New Orleans. Right. Or what have you. So you can have a taste of our country wherever you go through Popeyes.
I love this, dude. It's true. My daughters and I, we can feel it. We can taste it.
Yeah, because I've been to other places that tried to serve us. Well, we're going to serve y'all red beans and rice and all this stuff. And it was just that. It was red beans and rice. They have no gravy, no smoked sausage, none of that stuff that, like the ingredients that it takes to make that down.
Yeah, the things that make it a gumbo, make it special, you know? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and that's it, gumbo. Where else you going to get gumbo outside the country of New Orleans? Or what have you, and be the real deal.
Oh my God, I'm getting hungry right now. No, listen, okay. Your dad wasn't Dave. Your father was not somebody who was not an ethnomusicologist, but he exposed you to so much different music. Can you talk about the H&R Bar? Did you get a chance to play with the Mardi Gras Indians at all?
Yeah, I played with the Wild Chabotoons and I played with the Wild Magnolias for a moment.
Oh my! For a moment, you played with the Magnolias?
Yeah, I played with the Wild Magnolias for a good minute there, for a second there, in the early 2000s, and as late as the late 90s, like in 98, 97, and all that stuff. I was a drummer with the Wild Magnolias, with Bo Dallas and all those cats. You know what I'm saying? Monk. And stuff, yeah.
Yeah, well, Monk, I mean, can you talk, I mean, so, but when back in the 70s, 9 years old, I mean, that was when, like, I remember interviewing, I think it was, I can't remember if it was Juan Pardo or Bo Dallas Jr., but, you know, at that time, like, there was a lot of fighting within the different tribes, and then they got them to kind of say, why are you killing each other? The violence was there. I'm just wondering, like, would your dad take?
Well, you know, at one point in time in history of New Orleans Mardi Gras Indians, it was just almost like a street gang, like the Bloods and the Crips.
Exactly, dude.
You know, and as a kid, I couldn't understand why this man was trying to bust this other man upside the head with a real hatchet or what have you. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't understand that. But, you know what I'm saying, time has passed, and the different tribes of Indians out here realize that during Mardi Gras and different things or whatever, there are tourists that come down here, and it was very profitable at some point for them to not be doing the stuff that they were doing, and just to entertain the people that were really coming to see them. And then also, you know, you really couldn't go and and white people especially couldn't go into a lot of places where these Indians were performing in the clubs.
Yeah, you're right about that. That's right.
They couldn't do it. So, you know what I'm saying? And then when you, as an Indian, you got to figure, well, you know, if we're going to try and profit from our heritage or what we're doing here, you know, we have to include everyone. We just can't entertain our people. We have to entertain everybody who sees us. You know what I'm saying? So anybody that comes to the country of New Orleans, what have you, and they want to see the Mardi Gras Indians or what have you, now you are able to without fearing for your life. You know, you can be entertained. You can be, you know, amused. You can be entertained. You can see what the real deal is without, you know, them going back to the old ways like they used to do. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's not just dedicated to Afro Americans. It's dedicated to everyone, Japanese, all kind of people. You know, it's dedicated to the world now. You know what I'm saying? And I love the Mardi Gras Indians. At one point, even me, I used to be scared to go see the Indians because of the atmosphere and the things that used to be happening around there. But, you know, the one thing that couldn't keep me away from them is the groove that these cats played on beer bottles, cans, and
cigarette machines, dude. Yeah, everything.
Yeah, because, you know, I used to go and check them out and then try and go and do those grooves on my drum kit.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And a lot of New Orleans drummers, some of the funkiest drummers who, you know, been to like the second line brass bands here. You know, the guys playing the bass drum and the other guys playing the snare and all that stuff. Well, if you can create that by yourself on a drum kit, you know what I'm saying, you one bad mother. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, dude, so tell me about, there's a couple cats I wanted to ask you about. I mean, obviously they were well into their professional careers and you were still freaking in ninth grade or younger. But the two guys, they've been in my heart recently. I've been listening to a lot of Dizzy Gillespie records with these guys on them, and they're both New Orleans cats. One was George Davis, and the other was David Lee. Did you ever cross paths with those cats?
I have a stick bag from David Lee.
No, dude, David Lee, man, he's looking down, bro. I want you to talk, because that dude, Ernie Ellie, said he...
I have a leather stick bag from him, man. Because I used to play at this jazz club called Snug Harbor back in the early 80s.
Sure.
And I used to always go check him out when he played when I could, you know, and stuff. But he was amazing. I can't call his guy's name, but the guy who played on most of the Fast Dominoes, Earl Palmer.
Earl Palmer.
Oh, Lord. You know what I'm saying? He was a god on playing New Orleans and playing New Orleans music as a drummer or what have you. He was a god. Also, James Black. There's so many drummers around here. You just can't name them all.
Well, I know. I want you to, but like some of these guys are, so Earl Palmer went to L.A., obviously made his mark in New Orleans. The other guys, Ed Blackwell, you mentioned, James Black, Ed Blackwell, and then John Boudreaux as well. I mean,
John Boudreaux is, oh, Lord. He's one of the coldest drummers that ever come out of New Orleans.
So, I mean, like, do you feel like, were these all guys that your dad was taking you to see?
Yeah, but not just those. Like I said, there's some cats that you've never heard of in your life.
Yeah, of course.
Swinging Melvin, he used to wear the big Stetson hat with the feathers sticking out. He wouldn't touch the stage until he put that hat on.
Oh, my God, dude.
There was a 27 Black. 27 Black used to wear the red scarf around his neck. He would not pick up a pair of sticks until he put that red rag around his neck or whatever. So they call him 27 Black. You know what I mean? He was a beast on drums. You know, again, Stanley Ratcliffe, the first drummer I ever laid eyes on, one of the coldest drummers out here. And then I even had the pleasure of having Zigaboo, because my dad was the keyboard player for the Meters in the 70s, late 70s.
Get out of here.
Yeah, that's my dad on Saturday Night Live when they got to get my name up in lights. The only appearance that the Meters ever made on Saturday Night Live.
David Batiste was on that. Dude, I am going to be watching that all day, dude.
Yeah, that's my dad playing that. And they rehearsed in my house before they went on Saturday Night Live to do that show and stuff. You know, I had Leo, George, and Zigaboo in my front row.
Wait a minute. Wait, Art wasn't feeling well, or what happened? He left the band?
Art quit the Meters. Art formed it. He quit the Meters to start playing with his brothers. They formed the Neville Brothers then.
Right.
76, 77, or what have you. And so when he left, they went and got my dad. Because at some point, the Meters and the Gladiators used to go to each other's shows and check each other out and stuff. And, you know, that's a song called Chug-a-Lug or whatever. That's my Uncle Paul that's playing guitar on that record.
Oh, my God, dude. This is sick, dude.
Yeah, because Paul was the chink master. You know, I'm talking about chink, and I'm talking about that tick.
Oh, dude, the chicken scratch.
He was the chink master in New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? And so when you wanted that, that's who they went to. They went to Paul.
Right. He was doing like the David T. Walker, Wah Wah Watson stuff in the New Orleans vein.
Yeah, well, David T. and Wah Wah Watson was trying to do what Paul
did. Paul?
So nobody did what Paul did. I've never heard anybody play rhythm guitar or just that soul of that funk like my Uncle Paul. And that's just me. That's just coming from me. You know what I'm saying? I've never really seen Wah Wah Watson or all those cats. You know, I know of them as growing up, but the you know, when I grew up as from a baby and coming up from a kid, and the only guitarist I ever had in my life was my Uncle Paul, and I've never heard anyone that came close to him.
This is wait. All right, so I want to be clear. Did the Gladiators? You have to excuse me. Did they cut albums? Did they go in the studio?
We did one album that was called Freeze in the 80s. At that time, I was in the 9th grade or whatever. The original drummer, Radcliffe, he quit the band. And so I became the drummer for the Batiste Brothers when I was a freshman in high school and stuff. And then we recorded an album going into my sophomore year, and then 81, 82, something like that. And it's called Freeze. By the Batiste Brothers band, the Batiste Brothers. As a matter of fact, John Batiste, my cousin from the Tonight Show, the Grammy, John Batiste, I was babysitting him when he was a baby, but his uncle, his dad is my Uncle Michael, the bassist for the Batiste Brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, you are blowing my... Wait, oh, dude, this is the sickest thing I have ever seen in my life. David Batiste and the Gladiators, Funky Soul Part 1... It says "Funk Your Popcorn." 7-inch record. Rock funk classic. This is insane, dude. You're saying this came out like 81, 82?
No. The Funky Soul that came out in 69, 70.
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. So you were you had the sticks in your hand, but you weren't playing gigs at 4 years old, were you?
Well, I was playing. I hit the first stage outside of playing in the house for the family because when I was by the time I was 2, my dad and them used to buy me the drum kits. So every Christmas I would play in front of my family, and the whole Batiste family would be at our house, the big house or what have you, and I would play in front of my whole family every Christmas. And then at some point, you know, my mom allowed my dad to bring me into the nightclub.
Oh my God!
and I was, I think I was 7 at that point, about 6 or 7 at that point when I went into my first nightclub. Of course, they kept my brother, and my brother was 5, and I was 6. So they kept us in the dressing room or what have you, and then my brother and I would come out from behind the curtains. We'd be dancing and all that stuff. And then I'll get on the drums, and my brother, you couldn't even see him. All you could see his hands playing the congos or what have you. But he would be playing the congos and dancing, and I would be playing the drums. And the first tune that I did, they put a microphone on me, and I was singing fingertips and playing the drums by Stevie Wonder. Everybody say yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's the first tune I performed on stage with David Batiste and Gladiators, and and I was singing it and all that stuff, and I played the drums and all that stuff, and then there was a song that came out by Booker and the MGs.
Hip Hugger or something, or Green Onions?
No. It was an instrumental song. But in the middle of this song, they had a drum breakdown go, and I did that one, and people just fainted. I won my first talent show playing that song.
Dude, you were channeling Al Jackson, dude.
Booker T and the MGs. There's an instrumental song that they had out that was very popular. I want to say in 72, 73 around in that year. You know what I'm saying? And I did that song, and I played that solo, and I played it lick for lick, or what have you. And even my dad and them, they were just freaked out.
They fell out, man. Yeah, they fell out. That's insane.
They fell out or whatever. And I was just looking at them amazed. I was like, well, what everybody screaming? What's the big, It was nothing to me because I could do it. I was born with that.
No. I mean, this is. First of all, I'm looking at this. The Gladiators on Solon Records. Solon. 45 RPM. Dude, there are 2 for sale. The cheapest one is $75. This is unreal, dude. Now, who's this cat? I'm going to read off his name. Isaac Bolden. Who is that?
Yeah, Isaac Bolden is one of the cats who ran the studio that a bunch of these bands, Alan Toussaint and all these people, that they were recording it in the studio, and Isaac Bolden was a part of the studio. He ran the studio. He and there's another guy,
Joe Banishak or something.
Yeah, and I was, like I said again, I was a kid.
No, I'm stretching you out. Was it Minute Rec? I'm trying to figure out what studio. It was before C-Saint, obviously.
Yeah, it was way before C-Saint. But here again, as a kid, I don't know, man.
I know you were just banging out. You were just hitting the drum. You were just having a ball. Yeah.
I was like, Russell, get out the way. I was in everybody's, picking on everybody's instrument or whatever while they was trying to record and do all this stuff until they had to bring me and sit me in another room and had somebody hold me because, every chance I got, I was trying to play somebody's instrument.
It's still that way today. I mean, you still can't get enough of it. It's unbelievable. It's like, so you would say that your father, obviously your mom, it was sort of the sign of the times. There were large families all over the country. You'd have big band practices. Eventually your mom let you go to the clubs. But your dad, the Gladiators, in the same conversation as Willie T and the Gators, the Meters. I mean, they were on the scene and as important to that New Orleans. Would you consider it the New Orleans sound? Was it electric? It definitely wasn't post bop. You weren't playing like Art Blakey tunes, I don't think. I mean, what kind of music? Yeah.
Well, the Gladiators, David Batiste The Gladiators, were a part of some of the most funkiest music that ever came out of New Orleans, or what have you. They were the bands that other bands would come and check out.
Oh, I dig.
You know what I'm saying? And so they just didn't get the recognition that other bands got. But, not to, out in the public, but to the other musicians, to New Orleans musicians out here, and to a lot of musicians in the state of Louisiana, period. David Batiste and the Gladiators was a major force with the music that you hear even to today that's out there.
Well, I'm going to have to do a deep dive. I'm just going to ask you, from a layperson's view, I mean, that's a heavy statement to make, and I don't deny it. But rhythmically, what were they doing that made cats like Zig or whoever else go and want to see them? What were they doing that was so progressive?
Go listen to Funky Soul Part 2.
And
then you can answer your own. You're going to listen to Funky Soul Part 2 and that'll answer your question.
Well, all right. No, that sounds,
There's nobody that I've ever heard come up with a groove like that. And you're talking about no solos and none of that stuff. Just the music, just that groove alone, or what have you. and they were like 18, 19, and it makes me cry a lot of time when I listen to that, because I think that's my dad when he was 19, 20, 19, 8. That's my dad when he was a kid, what have you. And just, I'm just, as his son, I'm just amazed by my uncles and my dad, what they laid down back in those days. And like I said, you go put on Funky Soul Part 1, but turn over to Part 2.
I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to have to stream it. I can't afford this thing. 45. This 45 is insanely expensive. In the 80s, so at that point, Ratcliffe had left the band, and I
became the drummer. Yeah.
Now, did you guys actually do domestic? Did you do some domestic touring at that time?
We did a little touring here and there, but we couldn't go too far because, like I said, I was in high school.
Yeah, no, your mom, your mom and dad wanted to get your diploma, right?
Yeah, but my mom didn't want me to go out on the road and traveling with they had to hire other drummers when they left out of the state of Louisiana or what have you, because my mom would not let me skip school or miss school or whatever to go travel with the band.
I dig. No, you were not alone. There were many cats. I think, I'm trying to remember who it was, but some soul outfit had to go and convince the parents to take the kid on the road. They didn't want to let him go. Can you talk about, in your memory, one of the first memorable road dog experiences you had when your mom said, "All right, well, I mean, he's a man now," and what that was about, what that was like? Because I mean, that's part of the issue. I thought you were going to say that the Gladiators were so popular regionally they didn't even have to tour, but obviously they did go around the South and stuff. And I'm just wondering when you first hit the road.
I can't say, man. What I'm gonna do is when we finish this, I'm gonna give you my dad's info. You're gonna talk to him. He's gonna tell you everything you could possibly think of.
Wait. David Batiste is still with us.
Yeah.
My dude, this is unreal. Okay, so anyway, but no, I'm saying, like, when did you first become a leader of a band and and hit the road?
The leader of the band and hit the road. I became the leader of my own band.
Yeah.
I would say like in 97. 98, and I put my band together, Russell Batiste and the Orchestra from the Hood. Yeah, because I had a cat playing oboe.
Oh,
I had a violin player. I had all these different weird instruments playing funk.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
God, dude, that's filthy, dude.
Yeah, and then playing all my composition. I had a 4-piece horn section. And including a horn player, and I had different instrumentation that was unusual to see in a funk band.
Yeah, you're not seeing a lot of fiddles or violins in funk music, or oboes, right, for that. I mean, though Benny Maupin played that bass clarinet, which was pretty badass in the Headhunters. I mean, what do you?
He was killer with the Headhunters. I used to love him,
dude.
I still love him. Benny Maupin.
Benny Maupin, dude, man. I mean, dude, the dude just could take it to the heavens.
A bass clarinet in the funk, playing that.
Are you kidding me, dude? It's insane. Now, can you talk to younger cats? I mean, this is the bottom line, Russell. Like, you were blessed. You're blessed with natural rhythm and music in your head and heart and soul. A lot of younger, and I'm talking younger cats like millennials, even my generation. I was born in '78. So many of them, go back to Art Blakey's band. You had Bobby Timmons, you had Cedar Walton, you had Freddie Hubbard, you had Wayne Shorter. But there was a farm system. You didn't become a leader overnight. Okay, you had to do this apprenticeship and learn. Today, a lot of cats are getting the positions, and not just in music. They're being anointed leaders before they've had any experience as a leader. It's not going to work out so well. And I just wonder, like, what in your mind, what are the most important qualities of leadership on the street corner or on the bandstand in Russell Batiste's mind?
In my mind, if you're able to I would say create what you're hearing inside of your soul, if you're able to bring that to life, that's the most important thing. No matter what kind of music or what genre it is, or what have you, if you hear something inside of your soul, and you're able to bring it to life so you can present it to the world. That's the most important thing to me. And, I would suggest that everyone, go back and listen to the music from the 40s and the 50s and on up. Go listen to everything because, I listen to a lot of classical music.
Sure.
I love the three tenors.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
I dig.
Listen, I love Yanni. I'm actually into Yanni hard. I love what he does with their band and all that stuff. So, I'm just into all kinds of music, man. I'm just not into one thing. Since I'm from New Orleans, I'm just gonna play New Orleans street beat, second line music. I play. I love all kinds of music, or what have you. As a matter, the like I said in Congo Square, people came from the slaves. All these people came from different countries and ended up in that one spot, or what have you. And they combined their souls together to create one sound, or what have you. Because there's no one person from no one place that can think of all these things that you hear musically or whatever that's out here. There's people from different countries, from different worlds, or whatever that, when you hear them and all that stuff, you be like, wow, how could they even think of that? You know what I'm saying? I would never thought of it, even attempting to play something like that, or even hear. I don't have that in my heart and my soul, but they do.
Yeah, I did.
And stuff. So I want that with my music. I want to put that in with what I'm hearing and all that stuff. It's a gumbo of music, man. A gumbo of music from around the world. And you try, because I'm trying to play music that's going to reach people around the world. Not just people who come visit the city of New Orleans. We take New Orleans out to different places or what have you and stuff. I want to be able to communicate with everyone.
I want to go back I just want to go back quickly. Like, I think the leadership component, you said, I want to be able to get whatever I can feel in my body, in my system, that music, right. I want to get it out the way it's supposed to feel. And so the challenge as a leader is to inspire the cats around you to get that entire conversation going. And to me, like, that's the important thing, is finding cats that are going to come in and do what they do best. I remember Dave Holland telling me that when Train first joined Miles, Train used to keep coming up to Miles and saying, "What do you want me to play? What do you want me to play?" And Miles kept turning his back on him. And Train finally realized that he wanted him to be himself. And that, to me, that's what the leadership is you're not playing in isolation. It's not Russell Batiste on drums for 45-minute set. You have to put people around you that are going to bring to life the vision of the tune that you have.
Yeah, like in my band, even today, I compose and I get on the piano and I tell Phil what I'm playing on the keyboards, and then once he gets what I'm playing on keyboards, then he becomes Phil and he takes it to another level. You know what I'm saying? He does Phil on that stuff. The bass player, I play the bass line for him or what have you, and then he being the bassist, he does what he want to do in that rounds or what have you. And I'm surrounded by some great musicians. These cats are younger cats. I'm the oldest person in my band by at least 10, 20 years, and everyone that's in my band or what have you. So, and these cats are really great to me. You know what I'm saying? That's why, I perform with them. I've seen them play out there in the streets or what have you, and just listening to them, I say, well, I can hear them playing something that I composed.
Right. I love that, dude.
Yeah, I can hear them being themselves playing a Russell Batiste composition or what have you. And I'm very excited and happy every time I get a chance to play with my band or whatever and play my compositions or what have you, because these cats play stuff that I couldn't think of. Although it's my song, it's stuff that I created, but once I show it to them, then they put their own touch and their soul into it, then that's what makes the music happen. That's what makes it exciting and make it very interesting, and most importantly, it makes it very fun to play.
Well, let me ask you. I mean, I want to get your take on this. Is the idea of in Russell Batiste's band? If if somebody hits a clam, does everybody go with them? And then you create new vocabulary. I mean, nobody wants to hit a clam, but if you do, I mean, are you that caught up in perfection, or do you allow the music to get a little bit greasy, or even take on a life of its own?
Yeah, man. At some point on the gig, doing the gig, if I hear somebody they doing something that they haven't done at rehearsal or what have you, sometimes it catches me, and we go from there.
Yeah.
I just stop the groove, say, hold up. I keep a beat going. I say, keep playing what you're playing right there. And then I tell the bass player, you fall in with that. And we all fall in. There you go. We got another whole song that we not even thinking of. We just made that up on the spot on the stage because somebody did something. And I caught an ear to it. I heard it. I said, wow. Where'd that come from? Okay, I want to hear that again if I can. Or what have you, and keep it going, you know what I'm saying? So although we rehearsed the song and did this, when we're on the gig, anything goes. You know what I'm saying? To make music.
Right.
We're not a machine. I don't want to sound like we're all pressing. Everybody's gonna play the same thing all the time.
Exactly, dude.
That's one thing with me, and especially with my band or any band that I play with or whatever. But especially my band, Russell Batiste and Friends or whatever. We can play the same song 1,000 times, and it's gonna be 1,000 times different every time we play it.
Yeah, you say you never play the same song the same way once. I love it.
I couldn't. Yeah. I can't do it.
I love it. That's the only music I want to go see. Otherwise, it just is a formula trip.
And what I mean by I can't do it is that I've tried. I cannot do it. I cannot duplicate. I cannot duplicate. There's a cat, Stanton Moore, the drummer for Gladiators.
Yeah.
I taught him. I would have you. And Stanton used to call me the night after a show that he was there watching me play, and I would say hello. The phone rang. Hello. And I hear somebody banging on the drums and stuff. Hello. Hey Russell, this is me, Stanton. Listen to this. All right, Stan, that sounds pretty cool and stuff. What you mean, Russell? You don't remember that? You played that last night. I don't know what I played last night.
That's perfect, dude. Yeah. No, I mean, that's a gift. That's the gift of genius because you're not holding on. Nothing is too precious. It's coming out of you. You're a conduit, and then you move on, and it comes out a different way. And the idea of trying to comp it or try to perseverate on it or be so attached to it, to me, you can't grow as an artist that way. I mean, that's just the way I feel about my interviews, too. I've never done the same interview the same way once, ever. They always come out completely different. And I just think that is, if there's one thing of essence that you could pass on to every musician that you come in contact with, it's never play the same song the same way once.
Another thing is like, because I get a lot of drummers, even a lot of other musicians that play other instruments, wants to come to me to school them and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't know what I can teach you. If you already know how to play music, you can already know how to play whatever instrument you're trying to play. And the rest is on you and God.
Oh, yeah. You're making it real easy on them, man.
Yeah. Man, you play what you hear in your heart and your soul, and what you practice on, what you go home and practice playing what you hear, what you're trying to hear yourself playing, or what have you. And thank God it's not, trying to imitate me, because I cannot be imitated or duplicated. You can try, but it's just impossible to duplicate.
Yeah, the algorithms are never going to be the same, dude. I freaking love it, dude. Now, also I have to get this on the table. I mean, it bothers me a lot. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it, and I'm not a musician, so I'm really not going to be judgmental. But I see so many cats. I'm talking at blues gigs, and they got charts on the bandstand. I mean, you'd never see McCoy Tyner or John Coltrane with charts or an iPad. Does Russell Batiste? Do you have charts on the bandstand, or because in those guys' minds, that's just a rehearsal?
Man, let me tell you something. I just my guitarist, whatever. I got to call him today and let him know that he's still in the band, because at that point I told him I had enough.
Uh-oh.
Because he tried to walk on my stage with a bandstand, and I made him take the band, his band stand, to put his music on. Whatever he charted out to learn my music, I told him I don't want that on stage ever in the history of playing with me or what have you.
Holy cow, dude!
Yeah, this happened on the gig Sunday.
Oh, this is you really are my so you kind of fired him, but he's coming back in the band.
Yeah, because I love the way he plays, man. You know what I'm saying? His name is Ian Cunningham. He's one of the funkiest guitarists that I've heard here in New Orleans or what have you. You know, I love his rhythm. He has great rhythm. You know, soloing, he's pretty cool, but his rhythm, just the groove.
Oh, forget it. The rhythm is key. Yeah.
He's cold-blooded to me. So, and with that being that I composed the music or what have you, if you don't remember something, I'm going to tell you what to play on stage or what have you. I'm going to give you a simple thing to play, and then you go from there. And then we can play the song and keep the show moving.
That's right.
You know, we don't have to stop and wait for you to flip through the yellow pages to find a song or whatever, because you don't, you know, it's a song that he's played a few times, but we haven't played it in a while. He forgot it. And so he panicked, and he left the stage. He left, and he actually went to his house to go get his book of music, his chart.
During the gig? During the gig?
Well, actually, we haven't started the gig because we were waiting for him. He was there, and then he left because I told him, "Look, I want to play this song tonight," and he freaked. "Oh, we're gonna play that? I don't remember that." And he left and went to his house, which was about a mile or two from the gig or whatever. But we still had to stand there on stage and wait for him to come back to start the show and stuff. And that really got me upset or what have you, because I could have just simply told him, "I want you to play this," and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to read those charts, or you don't have to try and remember anything. I'm going to tell you what to play while we're playing.
It's about that whole thing comes down to trust. It's like a belief, a trust on the bandstand. Like dude, you are my kind of musician. It is so invigorating to hear that stuff because the cats, your dad included. I mean, you wouldn't see charts on the bandstand. I just feel like also this need for perfection from younger generations is insane. I mean, ultimately, yeah.
Let me tell you,
go ahead.
When I got into college or whatever, and I was trying to play with the big band. Now, I played saxophone, so I know how to read horn music and all that stuff. But today, I still don't know how to read drum charts.
Right.
Or whatever. And so my band, the Kid Jordan, told me and taught me how to swing and stuff. And what he did, he put trumpet lines and saxophone lines on my band's stand or what have you, and I was reading the horn parts while I was swinging. So by the time we finished the song, we went down the first time. I moved the music out of the way because I memorized all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So I can hear stuff maybe one time down and memorize it and all that stuff. You know, I don't know where I get that talent. That's another gift from God. But it don't take me long to learn a song and know it from top to bottom. Once I've heard it, and once I know where it's going or what it's supposed to do, then the music in me that it kicks in, and then you know we're playing music now. We're not just reading charts. We're playing music. And, you know, even in the big band, in the big jazz band, the swing band, and all that stuff. It's the most important thing of playing music is to actually play music, whatever. And I just, once you learn a song, there's no need for no charts and no papers to be around, man. You know, it's just a matter of you having I guess, remembering and try and make it happen. But even if you don't remember, you still can make it happen because you have that much music in your soul. So whatever challenges come your way at that particular moment, you can handle it. You know, you're able to take charge of that moment and make it work. You know, and that's the thing about music to me or whatever. It's just making it all work musically. You know what I'm saying? Just make it happen.
Russell Batiste, I mean, dude, we just cooked for an hour here. We're definitely going to do set 2, man. I am just honored to be able to hear your ethos and methodology you learned from the older generation. You're bringing it to the newer generation. They desperately need it, because to me, it's not the drummer's job is not being a metronome. The drummer should be able to think naturally and play what they feel. I remember Lewis Hayes saying to me, from Cannonball's band, it was really difficult because for many years Cannonball never told him what to play. Then all of a sudden he got with Oscar Peterson, and it was a much more sophisticated style of jazz. There were certain parts that he had to play, and it would really piss him off because nobody ever told him what to play before. And it
Right.
was an adjustment, and I just feel like the drums are essential for healing. Going back to the original part of our interview, and if you're just going to treat the drummer as a timekeeper, you're defeating the whole point of spiritual music. So the fact that you can never play the same song the same way once, and the fact that you don't want any freaking music charts on the bandstand, those are the two single ingredients in Jake Feinberg's mind that can create spiritual music. And I wish more cats would be vulnerable to that, man. So mad props to you.
Thank you so much, man. I enjoyed talking to you. Call me anytime. Next time you call, I'm going to have my dad on.
Well, no, yeah, if he's cool, I'll just give me his contact. I'll do an interview with. I'd love to do that.
Oh yeah, he was. Well, you need a 2-hour show because once he start talking and telling
no,
dude,
we do a couple hour sets, but we'll do set 2. But man, it's just so nice to connect with your family history and to get your history on the table, and we'll do it again. I got to go to Popeyes. I'm hungry right now.
Shoot, man, I'm walking to my car as we speak to go get me a 2-piece with fries.
Do it. No, dude. I don't even get the chicken. Only the red beans and rice, dude, and some biscuits. I'm good.
Well, I'm going for the whole workout. I get a breast with 2 legs, mild, or whatever, with red beans and rice, and I get some fries too. I go all out. And the biscuit. You got to have a biscuit.
Biscuits are essential, dude. I'll take some coleslaw too. But yeah, that's it, dude, man. Have a ball. I'll send this interview to you later, and we'll do it again.
Love you, man. Be good.
Much love. Be cool.
Peace.
Bye.